everyone. So the youth preach today is going to be about Hosea, and I'm going to just read a couple of quick verses on this from chapter 1 of Hosea and chapter 3. So the first one says, "When the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, 'Go marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord.' Then the Lord said to me," this is from chapter 3, "Go show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another man and is an adulteress. Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites." So you might not be super familiar with Hosea, but essentially he was a prophet, and he back in the day, kind of before Jesus and before the cross and Pentecost, there was kind of like this role of a prophet, who were the people that heard from God, and they were literally the only person in the world at any one point that could hear from God. And often God kind of told them to say messages to people. They weren't always super comfortable, and as you can see from sort of this bit, sometimes they weren't very comfortable for the prophets to actually share. And if you kind of think about it, yeah, there was loads of discomfort in sort of sharing the messages, but think about, like, from Hosea's perspective, especially in that culture, the total shame that he might have experienced, where his wife and his son's mother was a sex worker, essentially, with all the social issues and the reputational impact of that he would have faced. And as you can see from chapter 3, she didn't sort of stop doing that when they got married. And so it just kind of made things overall kind of very kind of shameful, like very difficult for him to live through, and that must have been. And so just to kind of illustrate this topic further before we dig into it, I just want to share about an experience that Toby and I have gone through since getting married, and since getting engaged, really. So we made a decision, which was a personal commitment that was based on what we felt that God was calling us to. And because of that, we've had some not very awesome things happen to us. We've had our reputations kind of trashed in a couple of circles, actually. It sounds dramatic, but honestly, I can tell you more. We had people assume that we were kind of up to no good based on kind of things they'd heard of us. Anyone that had watched X-Men might remember the scene where Professor Xavier had to stop Jean from destroying everyone and herself when she couldn't control her power. And it was really difficult. And you might explain, remember it, but it's a very visual image of like his face kind of very impacted by all of her power. But that's what it felt like for us for most weeks. And we had to forgive again and again and again. We had to keep turning up. We spent kind of time, we had conversations and fought through all the pain to show love. And many people didn't see the truth. So we didn't kind of win any PR wars or popularity contests. And by doing that, we kind of didn't really feel that was for us to do. We just tried to sort of hone in on what unconditional love looked like in that situation, and just try to do that and keep choosing to do that. And since we made that choice, kind of so many awesome things have happened that wouldn't have happened otherwise as well, if we hadn't kind of been bold and jumped in and just chosen to follow the Lord on that crazy adventure. And that really has helped me to understand what Hosea might have gone through totally differently. And amazing things happened to that land of Israel. As God knows everything, he knows that Israel at that point needed to see that practical example to actually demonstrate what kind of pain they were giving God. Because before Jesus and before kind of everyone was called God's people, before that it was literally just the Israelites, people from Israel, essentially, that were his people. And they were kind of like sheep. They were constantly wandering away, and they were just getting themselves into all sorts of scrapes, and he just continually wins their hearts again and again and again in the Old Testament, and gets people to kind of poke people and say, right, you're doing the wrong thing. They were exactly like the sex worker, his wife, constantly wandering away. And he was able to kind of really powerfully show what God was trying to say to people by just being obedient to God and doing it the way he wanted to tell the story. And that would have been uncomfortable for him. But yeah, it led to kind of some amazing things if you read the Bible story. And also, this isn't the only time in the Bible that it's been uncomfortable for people to follow God. Think of people like Noah, when he was kind of building the ark before there was any rain, and he was a total laughing stock, essentially. What does this mean for you?